Amsterdam is a top tourist attraction. Idyllic canals, historical sites, a laid-back atmosphere. Each year, the city hosts millions of visitors, and those visitors need space. Space the locals are lacking.
I sometimes think I'm never going to find somewhere to live. I just don't know what to do.
Apartments are hard to come by. Offers are rare and mostly unaffordable.
You need to be rich if you want to get an apartment here.
About 1 million residents have to share this limited living space, and more are having to move out to gray concrete blocks on the city's outskirts.
I know a guy who had to live under a bridge for a week, or in Vondel Park on a bench.
The housing crisis is spreading across Europe. Wendy Bijwaard knows Amsterdam-Oost district like the back of her hand. She's lived here for 20 years, first as a student on a houseboat and then with her husband and children. But now she's getting a divorce, and she and her 2 sons need a new home.
Okay, dit huis.
They're offering this house here for 1.5 million euros.
It's heel groot.
It's very big, 300 square meters. Way too big for me.
Wendy has a well-paid job and will soon also be receiving support from her ex-husband. In theory, she's well situated, but the housing market is empty.
I don't know the price for this one yet. I'm afraid it'll be unaffordable too.
Het zal voor mij onbereikbaar zijn.
But it is pretty.
Het is wel mooi, want
it even has a little garden.
Achter. Als ik loop en ik zie iets, dan zoek ik
If I see something while I'm walking around, I immediately look it up. But most of the time, it's already been rented out, or it's way too expensive. Otherwise, I would have found something long ago.
Wendy is hoping word of mouth will help her find a new place. For now, a friend is subletting their apartment to her while they work abroad, but not for much longer.
My boys were born and raised here, so now they go to school here too. I'm very happy here. It's one of the most beautiful areas in Amsterdam. All my social contacts, well, most of them live here. And that's why I'd like to stay here too.
Dat is waarom ik heel graag hier ben.
Temporary sublease agreements are commonplace. The housing crisis turns entire lives upside down. Mees Koopman is one victim. He's a reluctant commuter. The student lives in Zaandam, one of Amsterdam's suburbs. Every day he bikes to his university for an hour, then takes a ferry, rain or shine. He has no choice.
I've always felt this pull towards Amsterdam. I was born there and went to elementary school there. After that, we moved away. But the mentality there, the way of life, and all the things you can do there, it's so different and much more open.
His childhood home is close to his heart. The only thing is, most people from Amsterdam can't afford to live in their own city.
It's so frustrating that I need to take the ferry every day, and I'm always at least an hour away from my friends. On top of that, I still live with my mother.
More than half the students in the Netherlands still live with their parents.
Right now, I'm looking for an apartment that I can share with friends. We could split the rent. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't even have to be pretty. Just as long as it's here in the city somewhere.
The University of Amsterdam is bursting at its seams. Right now, more than 100,000 students are enrolled. The universities heavily compete for international students. Their tuition fees bring in more money. But there's no place for the students to live, and the stress of looking for an apartment keeps them from their studies.
I know a guy who had to live under a bridge for a week, or in Vondel Park on a bench. He just kept his luggage in a storage, and then, yeah, for a week he was there.
Our common friend Willis, he stayed in the camping site.
The prices are ridiculously high. You have to pay at least 600 or 700 euros for just a simple room.
Mees has been looking for 10 months. He spends 1 or 2 hours each day. He even pays 20 euros a month for a professional site to send him listings. It helps him avoid scams, he says.
The housing market is pretty lucrative. That attracts criminals. They create a web page where they pretend to offer apartments that don't even exist. But if I don't know that and I'd register on their page for a fee, I'm being cheated. Every second website is a criminal website.
And speculation is making matters even worse. Everyone names 3 reasons for the housing crisis. The first, Amsterdam is a tourist magnet with nearly 17 million overnight stays every year, and the numbers are rising. Tourists love the picturesque scenery and the relaxed atmosphere. Many owners prefer to rent to tourists, limiting accommodation for locals. And hotels pay horrendous sums for building sites. Even the universities are turning over a profit with prime real estate. The second cause, Brexit. Many British firms have been moving to the Netherlands and buying housing for their employees in bulk. Sometimes they privatize entire blocks. Investors like Prince Bernhard Jr. are the third reason. The cousin of the Dutch king is a real estate millionaire. He owns more than 100 prestigious buildings in top locations. The only ones who could pay such a high rent are rich managers and celebrities from abroad. And they do. To them, money is hardly an issue. This houseboat is for sale for 1.5 million euros as a vacation getaway. Now it just needs a quick polish.
Goedemorgen. About 150 square meters. We have 2 levels in the boat. We had a man from Argentina this morning, so that kind of people who stay for several times in Europe, and they choose for Amsterdam, and then it's nice to have an own habit.
In Europe, accommodation is the highest expenditure. In 11 European countries, the price per square meter in urban areas rose so sharply in the past year, it has become virtually unaffordable for the middle class. In Amsterdam, 1 square meter costs about 21 euros. London is in first place with 30 euros per square meter, and in Paris, the most densely populated city in Europe, 1 square meter costs 25 euros. In Rome and Vienna, you pay an average of 14 euros, which makes Madrid and Berlin look comparatively inexpensive at just 11 euros. A place to call home in Amsterdam. That's what Mees Koopman would like best. He's viewing a place far from the city center, in a suburb with good public transportation.
I'm hoping to find a place here with 2 or 3 bedrooms. I'm not sure yet. I don't come here very often, but I want to have a look. I'm hoping my chances will be higher here, since the area isn't very popular.
Come in. The washing machine in the hallway is communal property. All the furniture you see here is brand new.
Okay.
The kitchen and bathroom are new and unused.
65 square meters on 2 floors, all for an incredible 2,600 euros. At least Mees got to come and have a look around. Most of the time, he's not even invited to a viewing.
Usually, the fact that I'm a student is a problem. Landlords prefer families, people who earn money. Unfortunately, students have a bad reputation for not handling their money well, and for disturbing the neighbors.
But even if they split the costs, Mees and his friends would still be paying 870 euros each. That's way too much.
The apartment looked nice, but considering the neighborhood and how expensive the rent is, we'd be crazy to take it.
For now, he's better off staying with his family. There he contributes 200 euros for living costs.
I'm happy that he's still living here, but I know that he's really preoccupied with the thought of moving out. And I get it, he's 20 years old, he wants to do his own thing.
But his circumstances are different than they were for her generation. Today, living on your own in Amsterdam is a luxury.
More and more young people are choosing not to study. Not because they aren't able to, but because they don't want to take out housing loans.
Sky-high rents, astronomical real estate prices, and growing cities. The housing market is going crazy, and Mees's chances of ever moving out are shrinking. As a result, the suburbs have become boom towns. In Amsterdam's southeast district, many people from Suriname have come to settle. They are the ones who keep the city running, as nurses, as taxi and bus drivers, and as hairdressers. But the city has no affordable space for them. Raymond Simmons has lived in Amsterdam for 48 years. Now 67, he was able to find an inexpensive apartment. 2 rooms, a kitchen and bathroom, a balcony, and even nice neighbors.
Look, that's what I used to look like. That was on a trip with the church group.
Ever since his son moved out, he's been offering people in need somewhere to stay.
See, in Suriname, we all help each other out. If you don't have a place to stay, you will always be offered a bed. And I've made sure to hold on to that mindset. Anyone with a problem can come to me. I've had a woman from Africa stay here, then 2 men from Suriname, then a man from the Caribbean, and now another one here from Suriname.
Stephen Bangafo is currently living with him. After suffering a stroke, the 58-year-old lost his job and couldn't pay the rent. An aid organization brought the 2 men together. For now, they're sharing the apartment, until Stephen can find a place of his own. He's been on the waiting list for subsidized housing for 7 years. The Netherlands offers the most subsidized housing in all of Europe. It makes up 30% of the market. Austria is proud of the 24% of subsidized housing that puts it in second place. In most other European countries, it's much lower. In Germany, it's only 4%, and in Portugal, only 2%. All Stephen can do is wait and hope.
My only other option is to stay in a homeless shelter, but you'd have to have a screw loose to be able to stand it there, and I don't.
Here at Raymond's, he pays 250 euros for his room and can use the washing machine, bathroom, and kitchen.
Stephen never cooks. I don't know if he has 2 left hands, but he never uses the kitchen. I'm the only one who ever cooks.
Usually I eat out, but sometimes we watch soccer together.
We don't have to become friends. When he finds a place of his own and moves out, I'd still keep thinking about him. Where did he go? How is he doing? Our arrangement is, I've helped him, and one day he'll leave in peace. And when I run into someone in the streets that I've helped before, we're happy to see each other and ask how the other is doing. Sometimes I get a pack of cigarettes as a thank you.
Homelessness, if only temporary, has always been an issue in Amsterdam, but never like this. In the past 10 years, the number of homeless people has shot up by 24%. Unemployment, divorce, or illness can force anyone out of their homes. Evictions, canceled lease agreements, it happens quicker than you'd think. The Rainbow Group is an aid organization in Amsterdam. Each week, about 30 people at risk of having to sleep on the streets come here for help. Workers can find them a room they can legally rent on short notice. But there is a very high demand.
It could literally happen to anyone. All it takes is one bad turn of luck too many, and that makes you lose your home and you cannot find a new place quickly enough. It doesn't matter where you're from or how long you've lived there.
That insecurity, that it could happen to anyone, is what makes Wendy anxious. More anxious than she'd like to admit. She's been hunting for a new place ever since she moved out with her sons. That was a year and a half ago. Every morning, she checks for new listings online.
So I go to this web page and there it says no longer available. Why would they even list it? It's so frustrating. Why do I even bother looking? I can afford a maximum rent of 1,300 to 1,500 euros. The problem is, the landlords want proof that my salary is 4 or 5 times higher. €1,500 rent times 5. That would mean more than 6,000 euros income. That's a lot. I don't earn that much.
En dat is heel veel, 6.000 euro.
Already, 1 in 10 households spends more than 40% of their income on living costs. And because the market is so out of control, property owners can dictate the rules. Parents with children have particular difficulties.
I've never moved around much. I prefer stability. I can't even imagine having to leave here. This is my spot. I like sitting here with my books, my records, everything. It might not be my house. I mean, I don't own it. But it is my home.
If she can't find a place to rent, Wendy is willing to buy a home. There's a construction site right around the corner. 500 new apartments on the grounds of a former wharf. Luxury apartments, nothing Wendy could afford.
Apartments like these are out of reach for middle-class wages. We either earn too little or too much. It's not enough to buy or rent, and it's too much to be eligible for subsidized housing. And in between, there's hardly anything left for the middle class.
In the past 5 years, real estate prices in Amsterdam have nearly doubled, not only in the city center, but further out as well. There's a lot of interest in this apartment in southern Amsterdam. another mass viewing. The entry bid is 350,000 euros for 68 square meters. Here, homes are sold to the highest bidder.
You always have to offer at least 10, 20, 30,000 euros more than the asking price if you want to even stand a chance. Of course that's insane, but that's just the way it is.
There's a lot of competition. At the viewings you can sense the pressure from the other potential buyers. That makes it even harder to make a good offer. Everyone is very emotional.
At least now, Amsterdam has passed a law barring the use of property solely for the purpose of speculating on the market. Whoever buys a house now must also move into it themselves and stay there for at least 5 years. In the Netherlands, about 60% of the population are homeowners. Germany, on the other hand, has the lowest rate of homeowners with just 45%. In Italy and Ireland, about 70% own their own home, and in the Baltic region, it's almost 90%. Your own four walls can be a good solution, even if the place is small. Stijn Mertens wants to turn his lack of assets to his advantage. He's moving out of the city to live independently and save costs in his very own tiny home. He's building his 26 square meter house in Den Bosch.
I feel like I'm carrying too much baggage around. I want to reduce my cost of living so that I can devote more time to the things I really care about.
Zodat ik gewoon meer kan doen waar mijn hart naar uitgaat.
So many people in the Netherlands and in the rest of the world are so stressed out about paying back their mortgage. What for? Or they buy expensive cars just so they can drive to work. I think that leads to sacrificing a sense of freedom. It makes people less ready to take risks.
His new home costs 36,000 euros, and that's just the cost of the materials. Stijn is building the tiny home himself. It's a modular design, like Lego for grown-ups. Aside from being a part-time handyman, Stijn is also a music promoter, and soon he will also be a homeowner. For now, he still lives in a 75 square meter subsidized apartment in the city.
Hi, come in.
He's got 3 times the space here than he will have in his tiny house. The rent is 600 euros.
Here you can see gems, books, and I have a ton of furniture. This here is really special to me. This was my mother's desk. She just passed away recently. Maybe I can leave it with my sister so that it can stay in the family. This is something I'd actually really like to take with me, but I can't. The house is simply too small. Here are some of my instruments. That's not nearly all of them. I'm a collector. I've got all sorts of things that I'm emotionally attached to. I'm sure I got that from my mother. She always said, waste not, want not. But now I'm tackling my biggest challenge. I'm going to downsize considerably, so I'll have to get rid of a lot. The biggest lesson I can learn from this is to let go. Everything I own can also become baggage.
And in the past years, he's gathered plenty of baggage. His moving boxes are piling up. So he's been checking online ads, checking at thrift shops, and also places that take donations. He enjoys the thought of giving away the things he can't keep in his new home.
I've got a record collection. I love music. And I have so many LPs. Even my own. I recorded it with my band, and it means a lot to me. The production, the graphics, everything about a record makes it a special listening experience. But if I'm being honest, how often do I actually listen to a record? It's nice having them here, and sometimes I have a fun evening with friends listening to them. But that only happens maybe twice a year. Is it really worth using all this space for that?
Soon his new home will be in Topia, an entire residential park with tiny homes on a former landfill. They named their place Topia because they knew they were pioneering a new movement. Here, all Stein has is a small bathroom, a kitchenette, and one big room to live in.
Sure, it'll take some discipline. Like in the morning, I'll have to fold my bed back up and clear away the bedding. I like to sleep in, so I'll have to remember to put away my bed before going to work, or my home will be a mess when I come back.
For that, he'll be getting a roof terrace with a view and a life without debt. All he has to pay is €200 a month to lease the plot of land.
I spent a long time looking for a place where I could be closer to nature and feel a little freer. Until now, I've always had houses right in front of me. I couldn't watch the sun rise or see it set. Now, look here, look at the swans. Things like that bring tears of joy to my eyes.
Wendy is also on the verge of tears.
I still have some standards, but for how long, I wonder?
The clock is ticking. She has 3 months to find a new home, and there's still nothing in sight.
It's so frustrating. It makes me sad and angry. Sometimes it almost drives me crazy. But I can't let that happen. I don't want to let it happen. I'll keep staying positive. I'm still convinced something will turn up. I don't know when or how or where, and that's difficult. But I won't let myself be dragged down by that.
Anyone who is looking to rent, buy, or even build is going to need a lot of time, a lot of money, strong nerves, and a lot of luck. Amsterdam is just so popular.